in the lead up to January 6th, since it was comparable assessment, comparable intelligence, roughly, you therefore proceeded with comparable preparation and posture.
Yeah, that is absolutely correct. We proceeded with the posture of seeing it could have instances of violence. We knew it was going to be focused on the Capitol. We knew that there was going to be members of Proud Boy, Antifa participating. And like I'd said before, not Capitol Police, not Metropolitan Police, not any of our federal agencies had any information we were going to be facing an armed insurrection of thousands of people.
Thousands of people. That's Stephen Son, the former Capitol Hill police chief who submitted his resignation just days after the January 6th incident at the U.S. Capitol building. I thought we'd talk about that with Judicial Watch President Tom Fitton, who joins me now. Tom, welcome back to the program, and let's start with this. Why are the U.S. Capitol Police blocking the Freedom of Information Act requests that Judicial Watch has filed, trying to get information like emails and videos about what happened on January 6th?
Well, the Capitol Police are an arm of Congress, and Congress has exempted itself from the Freedom of Information Act. We asked for the documents under the common law right to public access to government material, and they told us to go pound sand, so to speak. So we sued in federal court. Frankly, I'm outraged we have to even sue in federal court. This is a sort of material that should be released publicly, the email communications and things like that, in addition to videos of the government has, Congress has, of security footage and other videos in the in the Capitol during the riot. Why the state secret? Why the state secret?
I mean, I wonder if the state secret is because they realize how badly they screwed up. I watched a lot of the testimony this morning of Sund and others being questioned by Congress about this, and the FBI said a couple of days after January 6th, they said, we were aware that there was a threat coming at the Capitol. We informed our, what they call their law enforcement partners, the Capitol Police, and now the Capitol Police folks say, yeah, apparently the message went into headquarters, but it never got to the chief of police, which I thought was a little crazy. I thought, if you're sending a message to the headquarters of the Capitol Police, you'd think the last person to miss that message would be the Capitol Police chief.
Yeah, where are the documents? Where's the document? Where's the paper or email traffic? I mean, this is now a month and a half later.
Yep.
We don't have basic information about what went on. They tried to impeach and assault President Trump with this sham impeachment trial. And they get access to evidence, video evidence that's doctored. American people have access to zero.
And in fact, Tom, the point was brought up during that sham of a trial, the unconstitutional trial of Trump, a private citizen by that point. They said, well, how come this video was never before seen by the public? And the Democrats seemed almost proud of the fact that a month later, they said, you see this? This is the first time the public's ever seen this stuff. We've kept it away from them. It makes me suspect that they're trying to hide something. And here's one other element to this, and I don't know how much Judicial Watch is involved, but we've been told for over a month, based on unnamed sources the New York Times had, that police officer Sicknick died because he was beat in the head with a fire extinguisher. And that was brought up multiple times during the trial of Trump. And now his own mother has come out and said he was not hit in the head with a fire extinguisher. He was, in fact, we believe he died of a stroke. And how it's possible to have more than a month and a half later, you still don't know the cause of death. Was he hit in the head with a fire extinguisher by somebody who assaulted him, or did he die of a stroke of natural causes?
Yeah, they were essentially accusing President Trump of murder, of being complicit in murder, and it turns out that's probably not the case in the sense that anyone was murdered. That police officer, I'm not aware of any charges of murder associated with the death of that police officer, however tragic it was. Where's the basic information? Where's the medical examiner's report? You know, there's the secrecy, for instance, of the shooting death of the young woman up there. Was it justified or not? I don't know. We just don't have any report about it. We don't even know who shot the name of the police officer who fired the weapon that killed her. This is secrecy that we would never tolerate with local law enforcement, but because it's Congress, it's because it's Nancy Pelosi, and she's the kingmaker here. She's running the show. We can't get access to the information, and the media pretends it's not an issue. We think it's an issue. That's what we're suing in federal court.
Well, and Tom, I'm talking to Tom.
Many, believe you me.
Yeah, Tom Fitton is the president of Judicial Watch. The death of that young lady is particularly troublesome to me because at the time it happened, and when we saw the videos in the days after, I told my audience, I will always defend a police officer who is observing something that is threatening behavior. You know, if somebody is thought to be an armed suspect, and they reach inside their coat, that could justify shooting somebody to death. I couldn't see anything in those circumstances that justified anything other than perhaps tackling the lady and putting her in zip cuffs. But to shoot her when she wasn't presenting a threat to either the officers who are guarding the Capitol or to anybody else, I didn't understand. And yet we've already heard a grand jury has already said, or the prosecutors already said, we're not going to prosecute the guy. Oh, and by the way, we're not going to tell you who it was either.
Yeah, is there a report about the shooting? I mean, did the officer file a report? Did his superiors author a report? Why is there secrecy about this? It may have been a justified shooting because he may have testified he saw X, Y, or Z, or he was worried about something happening that required him to fire the weapon. I don't know, and you could be right too. This is what's frustrating. The video, for instance, could show horrible violence, or it could show. My guess is it will also show police officers and protesters peaceably walking around together. I don't know. You know, in my experience, when there's material that can be easily released to the public and it's not being released, it usually is something that's politically embarrassing.
And let me ask you about this, Tom.
I hear that Pelosi has something to hide.
I think you're right, too. The other question that occurs to me is, did Nancy Pelosi have an incentive to help create a situation by, you know, if her police chief, because she runs the Capitol Police, if her police chief is warned, there's trouble coming tomorrow, you better be ready for it. And she says, make no special precautions. They testified today under oath. We took no special precautions at all for the January 6th event, even though the FBI says we warned you there was trouble coming. And I keep hearing an armed assault on the Capitol. Tom, is there any indication that anybody was carrying arms other than the police?
No, I mean, all that is rhetoric. What happened was terrible.
Yeah,
we don't have facts about what happened beyond what the media is reporting, some of which is based on anonymous sources. For instance, that initial New York Times report was completely false about what caused that police officer's death.
Correct.
So this is why it's important to get the documents and get video. I'm glad they had a hearing today. It's interesting to hear the witnesses talk. But where are the documents? You know, who saw what and when? Where's the email traffic? Did Nancy Pelosi, is she going to be called to ask if she was to be grilled about what she knew and when? Schumer, even Mr. McConnell, he was Senate Majority Leader. Or are they going to ask themselves what they did in terms of handling the security? You know, remember, Congress is ultimately responsible for what the police did, and they're not being questioned. And this is why we've got this lawsuit to at least begin asking questions, because the American people are going to be able to get a full answer from Congress investigating itself.
Yeah, I'm with you, Tom. Tom Fitton heads up Judicial Watch as the president of his group. Tom, thanks for the time. And my thought on it, Nancy Pelosi had an incentive to let something happen on January 6th. If she knew there was trouble coming because the FBI had informed an agency that she controls, and then she said, don't do anything special. We'll see what happens. It became the predicate for a second impeachment of Donald Trump and then an unconstitutional trial. So did Nancy Pelosi have means, motive, and opportunity to not do anything at all when they knew that trouble was coming? I'd say the answer to that is yes. Back in a moment, you're listening to The Lars Larson Show.